Obamagate 4. Obama and the Deep State persecute General Michael Flynn. This is taken from the Encyclopedia Britannica, showing Michael Flynn's military record as being in the US Army 1981 to 2014 and rose to the rank of 3-star Lieutenant General. In his active service, he saw 4 main operations: Operation Urgent Fury, Uphold Democracy, Enduring Freedom, and Iraqi Freedom, and won the awards 5 times for the Army Commendation Medal, 4 times for the Bronze Star Medal. He won the Defense Distinguished Service Medal, 4 times he won the Defense Superior Service Medal, was awarded the Joint Service Commendation Medal, the Legion of Merit twice, and 6 times the Meritorious Service Medal. Flynn was raised by a Democrat family and became a registered Democrat himself. He co-authored a book called The Field of Flight: How We Can Win the Global War Against Radical Islam and Its Allies in 2016. He was appointed by Barack Obama as the Director of National Intelligence, a post he held between 2012 and 2014 when Obama fired him. And he was Trump's national security advisor between January and February of 2017. Having seen active service in military intelligence in the Middle East, Flynn warned of the threat that radical Islam posed to the Middle East and indeed the world. Here's a quote from General Flynn: "Islam is a radical political ideology that masquerades as a religion." In 2014, Barack Obama fired Michael Flynn as his Director of National Intelligence. I have covered the Benghazi scandal in detail in an earlier video. However, suffice to say that 4 Americans were trapped by Islamic terrorists in Libya in the embassy in Benghazi. Repeated calls for help to Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama were denied. The military was to make no attempt to rescue the 4 men. We have to ask why. Was Obama covering something up? Flynn said that Obama knowingly and willingly armed ISIS. He made a shocking revelation, saying early on that Obama knew that ISIS was growing, but had made a willful decision to let the radical terror group grow unmolested, and even supplied arms that he knew would go to ISIS. Flynn was the highest-ranking intelligence official to go on record saying the US was sponsoring al-Qaeda-led rebels in Syria with weapons and political support. Ultimately, Obama came out and actually admitted this. Watch the following clip.
As I've said before, this aspect of our strategy was moving too slowly, but the fall of Ramadi has galvanized the Iraqi government. So with the additional steps I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes in Anbar province.
US expels Russian diplomats over cyber attack allegations. All part of the anti-Russian theater. Obama seen here trying to look tough when meeting Russian President Vladimir Putin. Putin treats him with the contempt that he deserves. An advisor should have told Obama that this was supposed to be a diplomatic meeting between 2 world leaders, not a World Wrestling Federation face-off. In this next section, I have summarized the key points in the Michael Flynn case into just a few slides. Part 1. Flynn, in 2016, Michael Flynn joined the Trump campaign. Trump, of course, won the presidential election, and at the handover meeting between Trump and Obama, Obama advised Trump not to hire Michael Flynn. The President-elect Donald Trump appoints Flynn as his national security advisor. Now, at a time when the normal protocol is for the outgoing administration, in this case under Obama, to be backing off and handing over to the new administration, here, Obama, on the December the 28th, 2016, he expelled 35 Russians and he imposed sanctions in retaliation for the hacking of the DNC and Clinton email systems, which we now know was a hoax. On January the 4th, Obama had a meeting at the White House with the characters that I've included pictures of at the bottom here. Vice President Joe Biden, John Brennan, Director of the CIA, James Clapper, Director of National Intelligence, James Comey, Director of the FBI, Susan Rice, Obama's National Security Advisor, and the acting Attorney General, Sally Yates. Recently declassified documents show that Yates was speechless when she found out that Obama knew that Flynn had spoken with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak and that he had a transcript, because Yates had realized that Obama had intercepted the phone call and unmasked Flynn, so he basically listened in. The team suggested a Logan Act violation. The Logan Act was an old act from 1799, has never actually been used, but it was when America was just a fledgling country, and to prevent people from representing the American government when in fact they had no right doing so. However, Flynn, of course, was the national security advisor to the president-elect and therefore had every right to talk to a Russian ambassador. It's exactly what he should do in his job. Sally Yates didn't even know what the Logan Act was as the Attorney General and had to actually look it up. 2 weeks later, on the day that she left office, the National Security Advisor, Susan Rice, sent us herself a cover your ass email saying 3 times that Obama wants everything done by the book. So just to go over that again, 2 weeks after the meeting in the White House, 2 weeks after, she sends herself an email in which she says 3 times that Obama wants everything done by the book. How bizarre. She obviously feared something. Obama versus Michael Flynn, Part 2. The FBI Director, James Comey, sent 2 agents to interview Flynn at the White House. One of these was Peter Strzok. The Department of Justice's Inspector General report showed that, contrary to protocol, Flynn was not told that he's under investigation. He was not advised to have a lawyer present. He was in fact told we're just coming around for a chat. The FBI agents' personal notes show that, which have just been declassified this week, show that they thought that Flynn was telling the truth. The FBI agents asked, "Did you mention reinstating the Russians to Kislyak?" And Flynn denied it. The record is purely based on what the FBI agents write in their report, called an FD 302. So there's no recording of the meeting. It's just pure the evidence is purely what the FBI agents write in their report, and this becomes known as the Crossfire Razor investigation. Now, to be valid, the FBI agents must file their 302 reports within 5 days. But the one that was produced by Mueller in the court was written 3 weeks after the Flynn meeting. In fact, the original 302 was lost, or more likely destroyed. And later versions that were produced on the instruction from acting FBI Director Andrew McCabe had in fact been revised and edited repeatedly to make it appear that Flynn had lied. And we know this because Peter Strzok's lover, Lisa Page, an FBI lawyer, has made that clear in her testimony. So the legal battle commences. Flynn maintaining his innocence, a military veteran versus the unlimited resources of the FBI and the state. It's hardly a fair fight. But can you guess who was telling the truth? New Flynn transcripts confirmed that the Mueller team had lied to the court and the country. Newly confirmed Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe on Friday shared with congressional oversight committees the summaries and transcripts of intercepted communications between Flynn and Kislyak. The move followed former acting Director of National Intelligence Rick Grinnell's decision to declassify nearly all portions of the Flynn-Kislyak telephone conversations from late 2016 and early 2017. This was just published in late June 2020. I'm now going to play a clip of FBI Director James Comey boasting how he sent 2 FBI agents to the White House. He was trying it on. The arrogance of this man is bad enough, but he's actually breaking protocols in order to achieve a political outcome, and that is criminal.
You look at this White House now, and it's hard to imagine 2 FBI agents ending up in the same room. How did that happen?
I sent them. Something I probably wouldn't have done or maybe gotten away with in a more organized investigation, a more organized administration. The FBI wanted to send agents into the White House itself to interview a senior official. You would work through the White House counsel, and there'd be discussions and approvals and who would be there. And I thought, it's early enough, let's just send a couple guys over.
That was Jim Comey talking about Mike.
Part 3. Nevertheless, Special Counsel Robert Mueller charged Flynn with lying to the FBI. Flynn had not given access to the transcript, was not given access to the transcript which would have proven his innocence, and this is a classic perjury trap. Legal bills effectively bankrupted Flynn, and he was forced to sell his family home. Flynn's expensive lawyers advised him to take a plea deal. The FBI will drop the other jumped-up charges. Interesting that a senior partner at the law firm that Flynn was using was Obama's original Attorney General, Eric Holder, who himself had described himself as Obama's wingman. Mueller moved to thug tactics and threatened to go after Flynn's son, whose wife was pregnant with his first child at the time. Flynn very reluctantly accepted a plea deal, and this is not uncommon when you're faced with the resources of the FBI and the state. Part 4. Flynn fires his lawyers, appoints Sidney Powell, who withdraws the plea deal. As we've already mentioned, acting DNI Richard Grinnell has declassified documents from the case, which show that the FBI and Mueller had not only fabricated evidence, but they'd also hidden exculpatory evidence that would have cleared Flynn. The Department of Justice dropped the case. However, there was another twist in the tale. The Democrat judge, Emmett Sullivan, appointed by Bill Clinton, refused to accept the Department of Justice's withdrawal of a case and actually appointed another judge to continue the investigation on his behalf. Have you ever heard of anything so ridiculous in your life, that a judge then picks up the case and starts investigating it when the prosecution has dropped it? Absolutely unbelievable. Sidney Powell, Flynn's lawyer, then took the matter to the appeals court. On the 24th of June 2020, the appeals court instructs Sullivan to cease his persecution of General Flynn. With no case to answer, Flynn should be completely exonerated now. The whole case was predicated on illegal surveillance, on lies, on a perjury trap, and ultimately on threatening Flynn's family. It has run from January 2017 to June 2020.
Our first guest this evening is the best person we could possibly ask those questions of. She will be forever known now as the defense attorney who demonstrated that the Department of Justice, special counsel prosecutors, and FBI agents combined to frame and extort General Michael Flynn, and were doing so with the knowledge and the approval of President Obama and Vice President Biden. Joining us now, Sidney Powell, General Flynn's defense attorney. And Sidney Powell, congratulations to you and our gratitude to you for all that you have done for the general and righting terrible wrongs and all that you've done for the country. Good to have you here. How does it feel to how does it feel to at least be at this point? We've learned one thing, to look with a watchful eye at what the deep state and Judge Sullivan will do next. But it appears that you have prevailed, and finally so.
Yes, this is a huge step forward and a big step toward restoring the public's confidence in the rule of law and our judicial system. But it also demonstrates how fragile it is, because this decision is 2-1 when it should have been unanimous. I mean, every case in the country supported the majority decision here, and the dissenting judge ignores major constitutional principles in all the controlling cases.
And she is an Obama appointee, and again we see a judiciary that is divided on partisan grounds, and we have a Chief Justice who is behaving, one can say, erratically, in that he will claim that there are no Obama judges, there are no Trump judges or Bush judges, but my God, in decision after decision, we see precisely that they are, and this Chief Justice seems to have no way in which to lead the judiciary beyond the deeply divided partisanship that frankly corrupts many of their decisions, certainly this court under Emmett Sullivan.
Well, the majority decision here of the D.C. Circuit, written by Judge Rao, is excellent and very well reasoned and documented. And so we are hopeful that Judge Sullivan will follow the mandate of the D.C. Circuit and go ahead and sign the motion to dismiss, the order granting it. And so we can move on from all of this to getting back to more positive endeavors.
Yeah, I personally don't see that as a close destination, Sydney. And I know that you do have to be careful here because you still have much at stake, and I will certainly respect that. The fact of the matter is, as we learn more about what President Obama knew in his administration at the onset of the transition by the incoming Trump administration, it is chilling to read these notes of Peter Strzok, the other evidence, and to look at what it all combines to suggest, which is that President Obama not only knew but approved of this operation against an incoming national security advisor whom he had fired, and a clear effort to attack a man who was about to sit in the same chair as he in the Oval Office.
It is absolutely terrifying, Lou, to think that this would go on in the United States of America. And these notes are simply damning, whether it was a phone conversation or a meeting or how it was conducted. The notes are clear in raising significant issues for Vice President Biden and, of course, Mr. Obama and their role in orchestrating and instructing and making sure this entire operation was carried out. It's just terrific.
Now that all the documents are being declassified and we can see the level of criminality that took place, the rats are trying to get off the sinking ship, or to use a better analogy, they're throwing each other under the bus. Here's James Clapper, former Director of National Intelligence, blaming Obama in a crass attempt to explain his involvement in the illegal spying and seditious conspiracy.
The president now has sitting members of this government. You have the Attorney General traveling the world now, meeting with U.S. intelligence partners, trying to find out, in his view, whether they participated in some sort of Obama administration-led effort to undermine President Trump in the last election here. You also know that John Durham, who is a former prosecutor, senior Justice Department official, he's pursuing his own investigation on the origins of that probe. Are you concerned that Barr's or Durham's investigation will find wrongdoing and seek to punish former intelligence officials?
Well, I don't know. I don't think there was any wrongdoing. I think at the time all of us were trying to navigate a very, very difficult, politically fraught, highly charged situation. I know for my part, my main concern was the Russians and the threat posed by the Russians to our very political fabric. And the message I'm getting from all this is apparently what we were supposed to have done was to ignore the Russian interference, ignore the Russian meddling and the threat that it poses to us. And oh, by the way, blown off what the then Commander-in-Chief, President Obama, told us to do, which was to assemble all the reporting that we could, that we had available to us, and put it in one report that the President could pass on to the Congress and to the next administration. And while we're at it, declassify as much as we possibly could to make it public. And that's what we did. It's kind of disconcerting now to be investigated for, having done our duty and done what we were told to do by the President.
So there are some big questions remaining. Why is Obama so terrified of General Michael Flynn? Why did Obama weaponize the US intelligence and law enforcement agencies to spy on Flynn? Why did Obama tell Trump not to hire Flynn? Did Obama instruct his FBI director, James Comey, to set a perjury trap for the general? Why did the FBI, Mueller, and the DOJ pursue Flynn through the courts for 3.5 years, all based on a lie? What is it that Michael Flynn knows? What do we not yet know about Barack Hussein Obama? And will Barack Hussein Obama ever stand trial for his litany of crimes? I'm now going to play out with an interview from last week with the Congressman Jim Jordan, who will summarize exactly what has happened, all the things we'll be looking at in this video.
For reaction, let's go to House Judiciary Ranking Member. He's Jim Jordan of Ohio, back with us. Great to have you back on, Congressman. Your reaction to all of that?
No, this is the day that it happened. Remember, you said it best. Well, you said it best, Liz. This was the day, January 4th, 2017, when the agents doing the case on Michael Flynn wanted to drop it because there was nothing there. This is the date they decide, no, we're going to go after him. Now, remember what we've learned about him here in the last few weeks. We learned a few weeks ago, Joe Biden was one of the 38 people in the final months of the Obama administration who unmasked Michael Flynn's name. And today we learned Joe Biden is the one who suggested this crazy idea of using the Logan Act to pursue Michael Flynn the day they decide that they're going to continue their effort to get Michael Flynn. Joe Biden, even though he told us just a few months ago he knew nothing about this case, was involved in unmasking Flynn's name, involved in suggesting they use the Logan Act on the very day that they decide not to drop charges but to go after Flynn, even though the agents investigating Flynn wanted to let this case go because there was nothing there. That's how serious this is, and it's a great win. As Michael Flynn said, Liz, this is a big win for them. It's a big win for Michael Flynn and his family, what they've been through. But it's a bigger win for the American people because now this is about getting back to the rule of law and equal treatment under the law.
Yeah. But it also appears that Barack Obama and Joe Biden are personally directing a criminal probe into Michael Flynn when the FBI didn't have the goods on Flynn and they didn't have the goods on the Trump-Russia collusion theory. So now they're still going to go after Michael Flynn. Why? Because they didn't like him? Why?
Well, this is all part of the insurance, and I think to cover up what they did before. I think the insurance policy initially was to stop President Trump from winning. Once he won, then the insurance policy becomes, we can't let the American people find out what we actually tried to do. So when President Obama says put the right people on this case, that's scary because what did we learn from Rick Grinnell just a few weeks back as well? We learned that Clapper, we learned that Brennan, we learned that Rice, we learned that Yates. None of them saw any evidence of any type of conspiracy or collusion coordination between the Trump campaign and Russia. And yet, they continue the investigation. They got the FISA warrant to spy on Carter Page. They continue to do the investigation they did. They continue to go after Michael Flynn. So that's the scary part, and that is why, we say this all the time, Liz, it's why what Bill Barr is doing is so darn important, and the work that he has tasked John Durham to do in going back and figuring out how all this crazy ordeal, this hoax, how it all started.
Yeah. Let's stay on this because Michael Flynn was the incoming national security advisor. It's within his purview to get on the phone with a foreign ambassador. That's what he did with the Russian ambassador. So that's what he's supposed to do. So then the FBI wiretaps his phone call because they feel that their case against him is falling apart. and they get the transcript of the phone call. They see that he may have been talking about sanctions involving Russia. So then Comey turns around and the Obama White House gets on the stick. They get involved. What are we going to do with this? Because they clearly know the whole thing is falling apart. So they still get the right people to get, Obama says, quote, get the right people.
Right.
Mr. Jordan, is that Peter Strzok who was then designed a perjury trap to get Flynn to lie to the FBI so they could prosecute him? That's according to notes from Bill Priestap. And no Miranda warning, no lawyer for Flynn present. Is that what happened?
Right. So they have this meeting on the 4th. What happens in the next few days? 2 days later, January 6th, Comey goes up to Trump Tower along with Brennan and Clapper. But Comey stays back after the meeting. The main meeting ends, and he tells President-elect Trump at the time, about the dossier so that they could go leak the information about the dossier and get the news story about it. And then just 20 days later, on January 24th, we know Jim Comey didn't follow the process, didn't follow the rules, snuck 2 guys into the White House to do what you just described, to set up Michael Flynn and get him, as Bill Priestap, Peter Strzok's boss, as Bill Priestap said, is our goal to get him to lie so we can get him fired or get him removed. That's what they focused on doing, and they did just that. And it looks like now, based on what we got today, that meeting on January 4th was all part of this plan to continue to go after Michael Flynn, even though, as Comey said, there was nothing wrong with his conversations with Mr. Kislyak, and there was no predicate for starting this investigation in the first place.
Does this spell trouble for Obama? Yeah, does this spell trouble for Obama, Biden, Comey, Strzok, and his FBI officials? Because, again, they were dusting off nothing that had to do with Trump-Russia conspiracy, espionage violations, no laws cited there. They were dusting off these old statutory relics, process crimes like Logan Act that hardly anybody has been charged with, and FARA crimes. That's foreign, not registering with the federal government as you're lobbying for a foreign government. So, these are sneaky regulatory violations. Is that enough to get a FISA warrant to dig into people's, get wiretaps to wiretap their phones, look through their garbage, stake them out at their houses? I mean, those are regulatory crimes, FARA and Logan. The FARA crimes are.
Yeah.
It's not a crime. It's a regulatory violation. Go ahead.
Remember what the Attorney General said in an interview just a couple weeks ago. He said that John Durham is looking at all this, and he was asked about who, and he said there are names that he's looking at that you would all recognize. So let's hope they're looking at Jim Comey again. Let's hope they're looking at the people involved in this, Peter Strzok, Andy McCabe. Let's hope that all happens, because, again, what they did is so fundamentally wrong. I love what Emmett Flood wrote a year ago when the Mueller report came out. Emmett Flood talked about, he said, we would all do well to remember, if they can do this to a president of the United States, and I would add, if they can do this to a 3-star general like General Flynn, imagine what they can do to you and I. Or more importantly, imagine what they can do to the 750,000 people I get the privilege of representing in the 4th District of Ohio. That's why what General Flynn said today on Rush Limbaugh's show is so important. He said, this is a win for the country. This is a win for getting back to the rule of law. This is a win for holding people in high positions like Jim Comey, Andy McCabe, the top people in our intelligence community, the top people in the FBI. This is a win for holding them accountable and having them follow the rules, which Comey didn't, and to follow the law.
Yeah, Congressman, at the evening edit, we've been reporting on abuses of power in the Flynn case and the Trump-Russia probe for 3.5 years. We started this in January 2017. I want to ask you this. How does this fit in the context of other abuses of power under the Obama administration, going after conservative nonprofits to suppress their voice during the election by using the IRS to go after them, wiretapping journalists' phone calls and going after subpoenaing the phone records of Associated Press reporters, Fox News reporter James Rosen, New York Times reporter James Risen. Talk to us about how this fits in the context of the Obama administration abuses of power.
The Obama-Biden administration, remember, Eric Holder said he was Obama's wingman. And as you said, they went after investigative journalists, James Risen to the New York Times, James Rosen with Fox News. Fast and Furious, the IRS targeting scandal where they went after conservative groups who were out there simply saying, quit spending so much money and stop this Obamacare. I mean, and then, of course, we have what they did with the mid-year exam, how they treated Hillary Clinton, and how different that was with the way they treated the Trump campaign, with President-elect Trump, and with General Flynn. And that's what drives Americans crazy. And that's why, again, what John Durham is doing under the leadership of our Attorney General, who's doing a good job, what they are doing is so darn important.
Congressman, great to have you on. Come back soon.
You bet. Thank you, Liz.